the CONSIM World Expo 2019 in beautiful Tempe, Arizona, I met with game designer Kevin Zucker, and we had a nice interview. And the only issue that you might see with this interview is that it was conducted in a hallway there at the conference center, and there was some background noise, which I've done my best to mitigate. Also, you'll see Kevin sometimes turns to his left. He's addressing Ed Wimble and Tom Whitfield, who were sitting off to the side, occasionally asking some questions during the interview. So I hope you enjoyed the interview. I certainly enjoyed meeting Kevin and talking with him.
Here.
Hi everybody, I'm here with Kevin Zucker, a well-known, perhaps infamous game designer who's done so many different works. We're really happy to be chatting with him here at CONSIM World in Tempe in 2019. So Kevin, how long have you been designing games?
Yeah, my whole life. I started, I told you the story, I was 10 years old. I was at my grandmother's house. There was nothing for me to do there. So I went into the study and I found this little book. This looks like a book for maybe a kid could read this. Red leatherette book, I take it down. It's the Maxims of Napoleon. And I read it, started reading. I don't understand a single thing.
What kind of game is that?
Well, I'm telling you, it's this. There was no war game at that point, right?
Right.
But that's where it started. So I said, I got to know what this is. Center of operations, line of communications. That's maxim number 3. I don't know what that was. I barely, couldn't even pronounce it.
All right, go ahead, say something brilliant.
Okay, so what was I saying?
Do you have the book? Did you get it from your grandmother?
Do you still have the book?
I don't know. I put it back on that day. I never looked at it again.
Oh.
So then it took, and then 5 years later, I got a book on Napoleon. It was a picture book, So it really took a long time.
Now, did you play games that other people had designed first when you were a kid before you?
This is probably germane. I knew what I was looking for, but there was Milton Bradley had
Stratego.
Battle Cry.
Oh, okay.
Broadside.
There was a Japanese one.
Hit the beach.
Yeah. So that's where it started.
Okay. How many games have you designed thus far?
It's in the 20s.
Okay.
20 some.
Okay.
24, 28.
Okay. And what is your favorite period?
Well, there's only one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Napoleon.
1796
There you go.
to 1815.
All right. I know I asked you this the other night, but what's your favorite part of being a game designer?
Yeah, it's a problem solving. Running your own company, you're spending 90% of your time doing company things that every company has to do.
Right.
You do marketing, you have to fulfill your orders, you've got to make sure that you've got cash flow coming in, because if you don't have cash flow, then you can't do any of the other stuff. So about 1% of the time is where you're actually having, that challenge of how do we make it. For instance, we just did 3 battles in March of 1814. And at the Battle of Leon, Napoleon was attacking a force that's 2.5 times the size of his own force. Okay, as a war gamer, this isn't going to work. But somehow he gets away with this because he pretends that he's stronger than he is, and so we had to. But you can't do that in a war game,
Right. Not in the traditional sense of it.
Yeah. So what we had to do was we had to find a solution that would allow for the historical outcome, So, I did some research, I did some digging, and people, different sources mention that, the Prussian troops were tired, they were out of supply. But as I dug into it further, I noticed they had no line of communications. The French had taken Reims, so Blücher was retreating from Napoleon, and he was fortunate that he had reinforcements coming down from Belgium.
Right.
Fresh troops, 3 corps. So if you look at the Battle of Leon, those are the only troops that fought at the Battle of Leon.
With the reinforcements.
The ones that were fresh.
Okay.
And the rest of his troops, he took them and sent them far back behind the hill of Leon. Right? And it's a big butte that sticks up out of the surrounding plain.
Right.
So, then I said, well, those troops are brittle. You can use them, but they are going to demoralize very quickly. Actually, after doing all that research, I didn't have to write a new rule. I didn't have to write one rule. All I did was I just built it into the demoralization levels for those corps.
Okay.
So that I felt happy. If I can solve a problem like that without even writing one special rule,
Right.
then that's cool.
What would you say has been your favorite game that you've designed?
Yeah. My favorite game would be whatever game people play the
Okay.
most. So
Which one is that?
It would have to be Napoleon's Last Battles.
Okay.
Because there's been, I think, over 100,000 copies of that game have been printed.
Wow.
So yeah.
That's not bad at all.
And that was my first Napoleonic.
That's when you were with SBI?
Yeah, that's right.
Okay.
Designed that on staff. So I got paid, $7 an hour
Right,
or whatever. it
right.
was.
So the royalty checks are not pouring in for you? Okay. What would you say has been the favorite game that you've played that's not one of your own?
Oh yeah. It has to be a war game?
It could be any game.
Chess.
Okay.
Chess is a great game. I was a chess coach for 7 years at my elementary school.
Oh, really? Okay.
So that was a very rewarding experience. And by the end of the year, you got to teach the kids what is strategy.
Right.
That's when you have a plan. So,
Good.
and that's a tool for people. It's a life tool, not just a gaming tool, but actually something that's useful,
Absolutely.
not just fun.
Yeah. Most of the people that watch my channel are folks that play Napoleonic games, like the Lavatai games. Is there anything that you'd like to mention on that genre of war games? Anything like that you would like to let people who enjoy that know?
Oh, this is where I get to toot my own horn.
This is where you get to toot your own
Yeah,
horn.
okay, so that, I have a series of Napoleonic battles that I'm doing. It's projected to be over 84 battles.
Okay.
And we do them in groups. So you have the same army moving in different battles over different groups.
Okay.
So like the one we just did, it's called Napoleon Retreats. It's not about 1812.
Right.
It's Napoleon Retreats from Leon. Right? So you have Leon, Crayon, and Reims, and then a hypothetical battle. And there's 4 maps, and they fit together, just like the old Last Battles.
Okay.
That game was, the reason why I think it was a success was because you had 4 separate battle games you could play, or you could
Put them all together and have a big game.
yeah,
Okay.
So we're halfway through the series. We've got 42 battles done.
What would you say has been? Do you see new people coming into wargaming, or what do you think?
I don't.
Okay.
I don't. But I'm always getting new customers, or I'll get an email from somebody. I've got all your games, but I've never heard from that person. So even though it's a limited pond,
Right.
and OSG is a small fish in that pond,
Right.
but we still have new blood coming in all the time. But in Europe, there's a younger generation that are interested in board games. I think we have to thank, first of all, John Krantz
Okay.
for doing the discussion board.
Right.
It's a place. I think that really helped save the hobby when it was really going downhill.
Well, it's certainly given an opportunity for people to make connections. I wouldn't have met Ed or any of these other folks without coming to the conference.
And then this show here,
Yeah.
it's great. And but the board games in Europe, the Euro games, also saved the board gaming hobby. I think, because people play those.
Yeah.
And then from there, then they can actually.
It's a gateway drug to wargaming.
They might wander into our little niche.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good. Anything else that you might want to add, or?
Well, we were talking the other night about Napoleonic history and was
that's
Napoleon
true.
a good general?
That's true. Was Napoleon the best general in the history of the
No,
world?
he wasn't.
Okay.
Now, a lot of OSG's customers are big Napoleonic fans.
Right.
And we can't, there's no answer, really. You can't say who was the best.
Why would you demote Napoleon?
Well,
from...
because of the 1813 campaign.
Okay.
And the other thing is, when he was a young general, up until about 1805, he knew that he had to use stealth, he had to use subterfuge.
Yeah.
Thank you, Ed. Or what do you call it?
Tricks.
Yeah. So he would pretend that his troops were retreating. He'd tell his troops, okay, pull back in disorder. And then the enemy will come. Yeah. So that's something that he stopped doing. So in the later years, like in 1813, the Allies, they had their plan was don't fight Napoleon in person.
Right.
And they broke that rule at Dresden and they lost. But then, they got him
At Leipzig.
at Leipzig, yeah. But what he did continually in that campaign and also in 1814 is that he would reveal his presence, because all of a sudden his troops would be charging into the enemy, and then they'd say, "Oh, Napoleon must be here."
Right.
So then they wouldn't fight. So he kept making, he should have used
He didn't
trickery.
change things up.
Yeah, he should have tricked, but he was too much the emperor. Like he was too much, too ego.
Right.
They say power corrupts, absolute power corrupts absolutely, and he certainly is. So that's why I would demote him.
Okay.
The 1813 campaign was a terrible campaign. He made a lot of blunders. He had some great opportunities. I think instead of fighting at Leipzig, he could have gone and taken Berlin and switched the board.
Right.
He would have had to give up his line of communications back through Erfurt to France, but he would have had an alternate through Hamburg.
Okay.
And then he would have taken Berlin, and then the Prussian would wouldn't have no more replacements.
Right.
And so, it was right there for him to do. There was only one corps, the 4th Prussian Corps, which was mostly Landwehr. That was the only thing on that side of the Elbe at all. And he was going to do it. It would have been worthy of a great general. But fighting at Leipzig was a mistake.
Why do you think Napoleon and the Napoleonic era still hold as much fascination for people, particularly for wargaming?
I think because he lost. There's something about the romance of the lost cause. Just like the Confederacy.
Right.
So it's a good story. It's a great story. But I personally, I have to thank Napoleon for giving me a career. So I can't really,
Can't fault him.
I can't rag the guy too much.
Yeah.
But I said, I'd say, maybe Patton was a better general. So at least he never got defeated.
Right. Well, and there's certainly plenty of Patton war games and World War II war games, so that certainly has a lot of interest too. Anything else you might want to add? We hit most of the salient points.
I guess.
Okay.
Thanks.
Either of you guys have a question you want to throw in?
Come on.
Oh, I already know everything. No, about Kevin.
Okay. All right. Well, then we will say farewell from CONSIM World. Thanks so much, Kevin. And I'll post this on YouTube. Yeah.
I hope you edit it.
A little bit. We'll take out all the naughty words.
I
All
appreciate
right.
that.
Bye.
Okay.